He's dead, he's dead. Oh, Jesus! So recently we've been talking a lot about Tarkov PvP and breaking down some really common mistakes and trying to figure out what we can learn from those. But the other side of that is how do you actually implement those things when you're in a fight? What are you supposed to be thinking about and how do you react the right way? So in this episode of Teaching Tactics, we're going to look at some clips from my stream where I lived. I was able to turn a bad situation into a good situation, and we're going to break down those thought processes and how to actually implement these things. If you like the video, think about dropping a like or commenting down below. YouTube tells me that 68% of the people that watch my videos are not subscribed. So if you like the content, it's absolutely free to hit that subscribe button and it helps me out a lot. I also stream Escape From Tarkov on Twitch. All my links will be down below. But with all that out of the way, let's go ahead and dive right in. So again, how to turn a bad situation into a good situation in Tarkov PvP, or how to prevent yourself from getting into a bad situation. We talk about PvP strategies all the time, so let's look at some clips where I was able to actually implement some of these things. We're on Shoreline here, and we've done a lot of videos recently about this exact situation, about being in a room with no exits and figuring out how to get out. We did a few Teaching Tactics and Beyond the Graves about that, where it's really easy if you're a good player to push somebody in a room where they have no exit and clean up the kill. Well, let's look at if you find yourself in that situation, how do you get out of it? We're on Shoreline here and we'll go ahead and take a look at the clip. Is he yelling at me?
111 on suka.
Are you? What? Oh, Jesus! So in this situation, we were able to kind of reverse what we've done in a lot of the other videos. And we were the one trapped, stuck in this room. There's no way out. There's no windows I can jump out. There's no alternate exits. We've got an enemy outside. At first, I hear that scav yelling, and Shoreline is weird. Sometimes the scavs will just run down the resort. Sometimes there are multiple scavs. Sometimes they're outside, they're inside. It's super weird. The audio is weird. You can't ever tell if someone's upstairs or downstairs. So at this point, I wasn't even really worried. I was like, was that scav yelling at me? I was kind of just memeing around, looking at chat. And then I hear this other shot, and I didn't know, is that a scav shooting somebody down the hall? Is that a scav on the outside shooting a PMC inside? Now, this is definitely an opportunity where I should have immediately left this area. If I was going to be critical of this clip, it's not all this time that I spent waiting and making sure that there was no one here. I could have gotten to a better position. On some level, if there was somebody right here and he was immediately going to peek, I didn't want to have my back to him, so I wanted to hold this angle. But as you can see, I kind of hold it for a while, and I even look at chat, and I'm just kind of not all in it. I checked to see if maybe he's upstairs. I should have moved. I should have checked the corner like I did and then moved away. However, this guy peeks the corner, and then this is kind of where we are. So now I'm like, okay, I'm trapped in here. He's going to hold that corner. He's got no reason not to. I don't want to give him time to get a grenade in here, so I immediately pull a grenade. Grenades are so often used as tools and less as actually things to kill enemies with. By throwing this grenade, it's like there's no way he's not going to move around the corner for cover, right? Like there's no way he's just going to stand at that and then get killed by the grenade or hurt by the grenade. So he takes kind of a pre-fire shot in case I move out right after the grenade. Right before it blows up, I take a peek to make sure that I've got the corner, and then I move out of that position. We've talked about this a lot in other videos that other people should have done this, but when you're in a situation like that, you want to move out. You want to take any opportunity. Your first priority isn't the kill at that point. Unless that person is giving you the opportunity to kill them, your first priority isn't the kill. It's getting out. If he was pushing me, if he saw that I was in there and being really aggressive and pushing me, well, then I have to go into pre-fire mode. I have to try and eliminate him. But he wasn't. He wanted to hold the angle, so I needed to get out of there. I got out, and where I ran to was specific as well. I ran so that it would give me a right side peek on him. I run out of the room, and instead of going into one of these rooms on the left, instead of going behind the couch or going behind this wall, I scoop around. I know that I can take this plant. I've used this angle before. I do a crouch and a little right side peek, and now this guy doesn't have as much visual on me. He doesn't know where I am. He probably heard me running, and I'm super easily able to just pick up that kill and unpeek that corner. So this is one of those situations where we implemented that. I thought about it. I definitely am not one of the best players, and I definitely don't think super quickly. This guy obviously wasn't a, you know, level 73 Chad, that probably would have gone differently. I would have been more punished for me taking the extra time to make those decisions, but it was still a good example of the exact opposite of stuff that we've talked about before, which was how to get out of this situation, how to get out of this room and still maintain some level of safety, knowing kind of where that person is going to be, and then being able to clean up the kill and win that fight. So we've got another clip to look at, and this is more about kind of the other side we talked about, how to prevent yourself from getting into a bad situation when you know there's an enemy and you don't know exactly where they are.
I'm glad you didn't shoot me. I didn't see I was coming down. I got him. We shoot each other.
I'm gonna try to toss a nade in that room at the end.
We'll go in the middle room. Middle room clear.
Yep, guy in there. Yeah, maybe up. He's dead, he's dead.
Nice.
Now, another cool situation where we were able to pick up the kill, and this is much more kind of like duo focused, and once again, preventing myself from getting into a bad situation. The kind of preface for this clip is we knew that there was fighting in here. I was playing with Sheaf. We knew that there was fighting in here. So we come in, we kind of try and breach. He goes up to the second floor. He kind of runs up this thing right here. I stay on the first floor. I then go down to the basement. I clear the basement. So at this point, we know that there's nobody upstairs because Sheaf was upstairs and then came down. I checked the back side of this first floor and then went downstairs. There's no one in the basement. We're not 100% sure that we're not 100% sure there's somebody still here. He could have moved out, but this is the hardest place to clear because if I want to go in this room and clear this room and he's jumped up on the mattress or on the bed holding an angle, he's going to know that I'm coming because he's going to be able to hear me. We haven't heard any footsteps at this point, so I'm like, I don't know what to do. It's also incredibly dark pushing down here. You can see you kind of lose all contrast. So I go ahead and start throwing nades. I try and get a nade down there just to see if somebody's down there, if I can get somebody to move. I hear Sheaf call out that he's going to check this room that's right here to my right. So he's checking that. I get a good nade in there. I'm holding the angle, and I didn't even know what to expect. And I saw this guy. Once again, we weren't 100% sure this guy was here. We just heard fighting earlier, and we were trying to clear it. We see this guy come out. The muzzle flash and the fact that I'm not crouched really kind of messes me up there. I'm not able to get super clean shots. So I called that he's there. This guy engages with me and then starts moving. I hear Sheaf moving to my right, wrapping out of this room that's on the other side of the wall to my right here and wrapping around. I then hear Sheaf's gun go off. So that gives me a good idea of where Sheaf is. I see this guy exit the building right here. So now I'm trying to keep that mental map. Sheaf is over here taking the angle. This guy's running out here. I don't need to push behind him because if I pushed forward, me and Sheaf would just run right into each other. Me and my teammate would just run right into each other. And then it maximizes this guy's opportunities of getting away because he's got more angles he can go because we're watching less angles. So I noticed that and I run, and instead of pushing out and chasing this guy, I run to, once again, a right side peek. Now I'm not all the way up on this wall and then actually leaning, but I did make the conscious choice to go to this wall so that if this guy does shoot me or if something happens, I can get behind this cover. Once again, if we were to be hypercritical, I should have gotten a little bit more behind the cover and then leaned so that the least amount of my body was exposed. But you know, you can't be perfect every time, but it was still the decision to disengage, stay split from my teammate, take the angle that I think he's going based on the way the enemy was running. I know that Chief's got the other side covered. I take a right side peek. I'm not just standing out here in the open, and he comes right around, and while he's in his sprint to get away from my teammate, I'm able to really quickly put him down. So this was kind of the other side of that. It's preventing yourself from getting into a bad situation. You're not going to always have grenades, but it's just the concept of always thinking like that, of especially with a duo, how are we maximizing our angles so that, you know, this guy doesn't have as many places to go. A lot of PvP and a lot of the people, the top tier players, even the solo players, will tell you that a lot of PvP is the mental game of making sure somebody is always kind of like on their feet, always moving, always retreating, always healing. If they're always preoccupied with wondering where you are, then they're going to make worse and worse decisions. That's a lot of times how solo players compete with squads. If the solo player can just never stop moving and never give these guys a really good understanding of where they are, then that gives the solo player a better chance against the squad. You can kind of reverse that as well. If you've got a duo partner partner or even trios or squads or whatever, and you're playing really well together and you've got that mental map, you don't have to make comms over Discord every single time you move. If you've got that mental map of where you are, you can do the same thing and you can keep the pressure on somebody and make them constantly having to run around, back up, retreat, heal, reposition. And if you can track them, then you can take that out. So this was another cool opportunity. So I hope that the teaching tactics videos like this are just as helpful as the Beyond the Grave, because it's one thing to just break down what are the things that you need to do, and it's another thing to kind of like show how those things are implemented, how you think about it. In both of these clips, my criticism is that I didn't think of these things quick enough. I was able to clean up the kill, which is an example of how if you just start implementing these things, even if you implement them slower than you should, you're still going to pick up a few fights like this. You're still going to win. And then as you get better at them, as situations like this happen where you're like, wow, that was good, that positive reinforcement, you'll get quicker and quicker and quicker with your decision making in those fights. So I hope that this is helpful, and I hope that this helps you go out and start slaying out some more PMCs in Escape from Tarkov. Thank you so much, as always, for taking the time to check out this video. If you liked the video, think about dropping a like, commenting down below, or subscribing to the channel for more content like this. Like we said earlier, I stream Escape from Tarkov on Twitch. All my links will be down below. I'd love to have you stop by and say hey. And if you're looking for people to play Tarkov with, our Discord server is an awesome place to be. That link is down below. Thank you again for stopping by, and I will definitely see y'all on the next one.